Record. Okay, so we are going to go through an hour of mapping out our week. As we do this, I use a couple of different tools. Good morning. I use a couple of different tools, and you guys, if you just want to you just need the accountability and you want to do your own thing, you totally can. But I'm actually going to walk you through a bit of how do you actually do this, and how do you take all the things you feel like you have to do and get them into manageable chunks of time throughout the course of your week, and know that what you're doing is kind of driving you forward towards achieving your goals for the month. So, I like to do just a quick little review of last week, anything that maybe was on my to-do list that I didn't get done, and then adding to my to-do list on things I would like to do. And I kind of just start with my list. Don't overthink your list. It's not anything too crazy, but just grab a piece of paper. We're going to take 5 minutes and we're just literally going to write down everything you have to do this week or that comes to mind. Grocery shopping, appointments, things that you would like to get done around the house. Maybe you want to organize a drawer or a space, the kids' family time, you want to plan a movie night, anything that you want to do, just write it down. So we're going to take 5 minutes and do that. I will set a timer. Okay, that is 5 minutes. That felt really fast. Um, Wrap up kind of your to-do list, everything that is on it. So what I like to do from here is ensure that my to-do list is what's going to work for me for the week. So I know that I can like kind of cut out some of the fluff. And if I don't have time for it this week, then it stays on the to-do list for next week. So I really like to kind of pull this together now and organize, okay, what are like my non-negotiables on here and put them into my week. I map out my week with time. I'm going to teach you like time blocking and how I time block my week out and how I'm going to add everything in. You can use any type of agenda. You can even just use a piece of paper if you want. It doesn't have to be a calendar of sorts, but essentially we're going to get to something that looks like this. So I am working with right now a very blank paper, and I'm going to map it in through here in my daily tasks. So now what I'm going to do is these are the days of the week. So I'm going to start with Monday. I like starting my week on Mondays and then map it out through the weekend. On the side, I write down the time of the day. So if you already have an agenda that is like blocked out by hour, perfect. I don't. I like creating mine because I get up so early. There's actually no actual agenda that starts that early. Most of them start at 6 and I get up earlier than that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my to-do list and I'm going to put in here everything that I have to do that is a non-negotiable. And I can't change the times, right? So things like team call. If you have calls scheduled with any of your coaches, if you have work, time that you have to be at work, you put that in here. Appointments for the kids, anything that is like you cannot change the time, it is a non-negotiable, that goes into your calendar first. So let's spend 5 minutes just taking things from our to-do list or anything else that kind of comes to mind and putting it into our days, non-negotiables. We'll do 5 minutes on this. I think that's probably enough time. Also on here, like non-negotiables for me are like personal development, working out. Add that into your day too, right? Don't forget that stuff. Okay, one more minute. Is there a brick house call this week, Shorty?
I can't keep track.
Neither can I.
I'm pretty sure they did not have one last week.
Okay.
I think I just didn't pay attention this week because I have an examination under oath tomorrow, so I wouldn't be able to participate anyway. So I just kind of, otherwise I'd get like FOMO and I'd want to.
I know, right? Yeah.
So
So true. Okay, so as we continue to fill things in for our week, the next thing that I want you guys to do, so on your to-do list, you have a couple of things. This was my like chicken scratch. I'm just pulling off of this. So I'm like, okay, all the things that are non-negotiables, I have them in my calendar. I'm going to cross them off my list, make sure that they're gone. And now from here, I'm kind of adding in where I can start to see my days. And now I'm starting to see, okay, where do I have gaps in my days and where do I have time to actually start moving my business forward? So for me, you see, I'm starting to like craft out my days here. So in the morning, I'm up at 5 a.m. I have my workout at 6 to 7. I'm doing a power hour from 7 to 9. I'm getting ready, getting the kids ready for school. I have like all of our little routine that we do. So I have 2 hours in the morning where I'm focusing on myself and getting the kids prepped for school and anything that I need here. And I usually do some cleanup too around the house. I had to schedule that in, you guys, because if not, I'm at home. We're at home all day. And if you're not used to being home, literally, I would just like at any point in time I walk downstairs, I'm like, oh, ADHD brain. And I'm grabbing things, I'm grabbing socks off the stairs. And then I'm like, oh, laundry needs to be done. And I'm doing laundry. And next thing I know, I'm wasting 45 minutes of my time because I just squirreled into 5,000 different places. So I have really started scheduling out in the morning when we're getting ready and getting dressed. We have until 9 a.m. So I have until then to be able to clean up whatever I can clean up at that time. And then I'm not cleaning for the rest of the day. And my cleanup doesn't happen again until nighttime. So really map that out, what that looks like for you if you need to, if you need that type of structure because you can squirrel brain like I do, then make sure you map that in. So that's my first 2 hours of the day. Then on Monday, I have the national wake up call at 11. We have the brick house call happening at 12:30. And then I have a couple other calls in the evenings. So I've mapped those out as well. Now I can start to see, okay, when do I have to work? When do I have to be with the kids for school? And I can start to see little gaps. I notice here I have about a half an hour gap in between 2 calls. I'm going to leave it blank because if I schedule that in and the kids need me for a hot second, I actually need to eat. I need to prep food. So I'm leaving that blank so that I can actually get some stuff done there too. But now I can see where I have time in my day to fill in everything else. I want you to make sure that you are using the marketing plan from our files section. It is pinned to the top of the Fam Jam team page. So you'll also see on here that there is a coffee chat happening on Friday at 12 p.m. So if you have time to add that into your schedule, add that in. It's a great time to be able to connect. Shorty's going to lead it for us this week. It'll be an amazing opportunity to just like check in for the week, ask your questions. So use that. Every week is totally different. And now fill in where you can work your business, right? That should be the second priority. You probably have things on your list to do that are organize this part of my house. I would love to pick out paint colors. I want to put up a backsplash. We want to, anything that you're like thinking about doing around the house or you want to plan family time. The second thing I always do is just make sure that I'm getting my business activities in here. And what are your business activities? This is going to look a little bit different. I think that it's important to understand that getting through the business activity tracker is first and foremost. So this is what you want to plan into your days. There's a lot of busy work that we can do. I think it's important that you schedule about an hour a week to do projects, right? So when you sit down, You're not going, oh, I could do X, Y, and Z, or I could be doing this. Know what you're going to be doing and schedule out an hour for yourself, an hour on Sundays to map out your week. Schedule in an hour, maybe on a Tuesday evening. You, instead of watching Netflix, you're going to schedule out some project time. And that project time might look like on your to-do list, maybe you need to set up your bod group. Maybe you need to craft a welcome email for your clients. Maybe you need to craft a coach welcome email. What is it that you feel like you are missing in your business? Pick the priorities, pick like 3 things that you could do in your project time and get that done. Project time would also be like scheduling out your posts for the following week for your challenge group, right? That can take 15, 20 minutes just to copy and paste from the challenge group guides and schedule out those posts. What does that look like for you? So I would choose an hour for the week that you can craft as your project time, pick that. And then every single day, what time do you have left now to get the business activity tracker done? I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to continue mapping out your week on when you're going to get the business activity tracker done. There's 2 ways that you can do this. I need a more focused way where I put into my time in the morning. I'm working from 6 to 7. That is, I'm doing proof that the products work, section number 1. I am doing section number 3 because that's when I check in with my challenge group and I'm making sure that I have everything done there. So I'm not popping in there all day long. And section number 4 is personal development. That gets done first thing in the morning as well. So I really write in what I'm doing. And then section number 2, I break this section up throughout my day as well. So if I have a half an hour, say if at 11 o'clock, I have a half an hour, I'll write in invites. And then at 2 o'clock, I have another 15 minutes on a break. I'll write in connect, make new connections, add new followers. So I'm really specific and I literally break out each one of these things into my day. If you just need to write down Beachbody, you can write that for now, and then you can find your flow. But let's do 5 minutes. Let's add in when we're going to be doing our Beachbody business. Okay. I hope that you have a really great base as to what's happening for your week. And now you should have your non-negotiables of what has to get done. You should have when you're working your Beachbody business to ensure that you can get the entire business activity tracker done every single day. That should be mapped out in there. And you should now have gaps in your days. So what are the gaps that you have? And what do you want to be doing with those? I always plan buffer time in my days. If I map out my days back to back, minute to minute, I'm going to feel like I'm failing because something will happen. I will have an interruption from a call. I'll get caught in a chat. The kids might interrupt me with something. Something will happen. Dinner will burn and I'll have to order it from somewhere else. Like something will happen almost every single day. It is a given that it's not going to go perfect as according to plan. So I try and have buffer room so that I can adjust. If at any point I'm like, oh, I didn't get that done, I can do that later at like 3. So I do that. I also plan in family time and unplugged time. I'm making sure that I'm taking care of the amount of time that I'm online versus offline. So I'm not dealing with burnout as well. I think it's really important to make sure that you're understanding kind of where you're at and what your personal cadence is. Maybe one week you're like, let's go, I'm in. And next week you might have to block out some time where you're like totally relaxed and chill and doing a lot of self-care. This week for me is chaos because we have NLC and I'm hosting one of the Zoom rooms in NLC. So my days for like 3 days, it's going to be a gong show. And so I'm going to have to make sure next week I'm mapping out some really intentional time off of calls and off of like having to be on. So make sure you understand kind of where you're at, what your flow is. Now from your to-do list, you're going to have a bunch of things that are on here that are like, you would love to do, you would like to do. And you're going to have a bunch of thing on here that's just nonsense. It's just noise in your brain that's on here. Leave it because you're going to know I'm not going to forget it because it's on a list, but it might have to go to next week's list. If it's not something that is going to drive you closer to your goals, then it has to go on a list for next week. And this is where I kind of reorganize things and I just take a couple of things. I'm like, this really isn't important this week. And I start my week for next week. So I start my to-do list for next week with all the things that are like not important on here. And anything that I'm like, no, I actually have gaps in my day. I've got an hour here. I've got an hour there. I've got a half an hour. I could organize my closet on Saturday morning. I can map that in. I could get all my receipts kind of put together and inputted in my Excel spreadsheet for the month for our financials. Whatever it might be for you, right? Make sure that you put that into your week. So I'm going to move forward though. You guys can kind of finish that up and wrap that up after we're done this call. I want to chat about how you're going to set yourself up for success within your business. You have your hours. You know what you're working this week for Beachbody, right? You know when those hours are going to be now. You've put them into your schedule. You know what to do. Think of all the things that we have to do and identify your gaps from last week. What was something that you found like you got stuck on? And this is where you scheduled in that 1 hour of like project time this week. I want you to organize yourself so that you're not stuck this week. And maybe it is you felt like you got stuck on inviting because you don't know what your invite is. Craft an invite right now. Maybe you got stuck on a follow-up because you have no idea what to send somebody when they say yes. Craft an email that is going to include all of the information of what they're going to get in your project time. Maybe you got stuck on really contributing to your challenge group because you felt like you were like off and you weren't scheduling out your challenge group posts. In your project time, you're going to schedule out those challenge group posts. Maybe it's a welcome client email or a welcome coach email. Identify what your gap was. I'm going to give you guys about 4 minutes to just kind of like reflect on last week and go, okay, what didn't I do in the business activity tracker and why didn't I do that thing? And if you don't know what that is, you can unmute yourself and maybe we can chat it through. But I think that for me, that is a massive opportunity to reflect back on, okay, what was I avoiding last week and why was I avoiding it? It's likely because I didn't have something organized. And that is going to be the thing you do in your project time this week. And we're just going to keep doing that every single week. So 4 minutes, identify maybe something that you were stuck on last week or something that you would love to get done in your business that you don't have organized, and schedule that into your project time. Okay, something that I really like doing is I just have like small Post-its. You can just cut your Post-its if you want, but I like to put them as my to-dos for the day. So every day on my calendar, and this is especially for like when you have like project time and you know what those 3 things are that you want to do. So my week, this is typically what a week would look like for me. And then I have a little sticky, and those are my 3 to-dos for the day. So I try not to schedule too much more than 3 things I want to get done in that day outside of like what I have to do, because then I feel like I'm moving forward. Instead of having this long to-do list, I break it up over the course of the week. And some days I can get things done, some days I don't. But once I'm done, I can peel it off and I'm like, I'm done. I feel good. I'm confident that I'm moving my business forward. I did 3 things that are actually going to help me feel more organized, or it's just what I have to get done, right? So this is something that I love to do. This is what I did for this week as well. For my project time, I have 3 projects that I want to get done in an hour. And I'm just going to add that onto Tuesday is the day that I've scheduled for project time. So I'm going to add that into my Tuesday for this week. I'm just going to put that sticky note on there. And then I know those are the things I'm going to do. That's really helped me to just kind of stay focused and have that to-do list again. And then if anything in that hour, if for whatever reason I only got one of the 3 things done, I still have them written down. I have this thing of like, I'm going to forget something. And then it keeps me up at night if I don't have it written down. And if I can have it written down and I can check off this list, one, checking things off the list feels friggin' good. Feels like you're accomplishing something. But I know that everything is written down and it's all in an agenda. It's in a book. This is like my Bible and I have it right here. If you're an electronic person, you can transfer this over as you like map it out. You can do it online if you want to. It doesn't have to be in a book. I should have said that at the beginning of the call. Or if you like to do both, I like to have this as like my guide for the day, but my non-negotiables will go into my calendar in my Google Calendar. Okay. No, my Tuesday to-do list is marketing calendar for February. So we don't have the coach up calls yet, but I'll have those for you guys. I'll probably actually have those for you guys. I might have them at the end of the day today. Jerry and I were talking about that. We are going to do bi-weekly calls, just so you know, guys, for coach opportunities. We're like hammering out coach opportunity calls. It's a really big area. We want to focus on growing. And I think that's just going to be important to have more of those calls. So just so you know, it's coming. Okay. You guys should feel pretty confident at this point as to like what your week is looking like, what you're doing, what you have to do, the tasks that you're going to be doing, the tasks that you're not going to be doing because it's busy work and you're like, nope, forget it. That's for next week. That's for another time where I have more time in my week. I want to now kind of move into, okay, let's set yourself up for some really great success in terms of how we're running our business. The things that hold people back the most. I have no idea what to post. I don't have pictures to put up with my posts. I don't know what I'm inviting to. I don't know how to search and make connections because I don't have hashtags or I don't know what locations to search. I don't have a follow-up list because I wasn't recording or tracking any of my conversations. I don't know when to run a free group or what my free group should be about. All of this noise, right, becomes our block and it becomes the thing that we're like, eh. So this is for you guys to be able to navigate what you need to do for this week. But here's some tips and tricks on a really great flow that seems to work for me. When I have my monthly calendar, I will take the monthly calendar. I used to do this with Crush Nation, right? They would give me the monthly calendar and I still do this. I take it and I make my own. So when does my challenge group start? That is a really big starting point for me to know what I'm posting. Do I have a challenge group coming up? Do I have a coach opportunity call coming up? Do I have a free group coming up? What do I have that is coming up this week? This week, really don't have a lot. There's nothing really happening this week. So I need to move into next week. And that, because we're at the end of the month, moving into a new month, I know that I need a new challenge group start date. I already had my challenge group start in January. So I need to be looking ahead. What is my next challenge group start date? If you don't have one, write that down right now as the thing that you have to do to schedule out a challenge group start date. I know that next Monday, we are going to do the first Monday of every single month. We are doing a new coach getting started right call. What do I have to do for that? I need new coaches. So this week, because I don't have a challenge group starting right away, I know that I am focusing on coaches. So this entire week, I am talking on my posts about coaching a lot. I'm talking in my stories about coaching a lot. And the whole point of that is because I know I have a start date on February 1st, and I can feel confident I can onboard a new coach on February 1st with that Getting Started Right call. And the new Coach February chat is going to be open as well for the whole team. So they can feel like they're a part of a community and they're all doing this together. So that for me is kind of how I backtrack as to, okay, what do I have coming up this week? My invites, I'm going to be inviting from my challenge group to the coaching opportunity because I know I have it. I have that coming up. If you haven't been inviting to the coach opportunity call that's happening today with Shorty at 3, you're going to have the recording. So if anyone says, yes, I'm interested, now you have the recording, save it when we post the recording of it, save it into the note section of your phone. And you have that to be like, okay, incredible. Check out this call and then let's connect. Tell me what your thoughts are, and then let's connect on it. And you can connect with them personally after they watch that call. It saves you a ton of time not having to get on one-on-one calls with every single person who you've invited to coaching. So it kind of weeds people out who think they might know what it is, what it's about, or have no idea what it's about. And they're interested, it piques their interest. They watch the call and then schedule a time with them. If they watch the call and they're like, yeah, actually, I'd love to know a little bit more about what that looks like. Or they're going to be like, no, that's totally not what I thought it was. I'm not interested. And you can move on to the next person. So that for me is kind of how I'm mapping things out backwards. Now, maybe you have a challenge group that's starting on February 1st. Maybe that's the thing that you're talking about a lot. Or maybe you want to talk about both. You can totally talk about both. I don't think that there's any like right or wrong way that we have to do it, but really look at, okay, this week, what do I love about coaching? How has it changed my life? That's the post that you're going to do, and do it 3 times, right? Continue to talk about it over and over and over again. Why do I love my challenge group? Maybe you can share a transformation, a personal transformation, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, whatever it's been for you. You can share, which Katie, I saw you did this. You shared a lot of like messages that you received from your clients about your challenge group because you guys have a challenge group coming up. Posts like that are really great. Continue to do those. Social proof is everything. Maybe ask your clients for a transformation. Hey, I'm looking to post, and you can put in your challenge group. Hey, I'm looking to post some transformations on my personal Instagram page. Would anybody love to share one with us? I'd love to highlight some of our clients who are doing really well. Just ask, right? And then you can post about that. Sprinkle in a quote, like a personal development quote that speaks to you. Sprinkle in family life, something that you're loving right now. Sprinkle in a challenge that you're having and how you're overcoming that challenge. I always want to look at what's coming up to know what I'm talking about in my posts. So just align that for yourself and just make a quick note, even on like a post-it note, write down, okay, here's 5 things I love about my challenge group and 5 things I love about coaching. This is what I'm going to talk about this week. That's how I map my week out. And then I go, I need pictures for all these things. So do I have photos, or what photos do I have to take? Maybe today you take a half an hour and you put on 5 different shirts and you do 5 different poses and you take 5 pictures. And now you have your pictures for the week. How can you batch things to make your life simpler so that when you have a post, you're not like, well, I have a post, but I don't have a picture, so I'm not putting it up. How can you be proactive about that? And maybe that becomes your project time this week. Maybe you have 20 minutes where you're just going to go, or maybe you take an hour and you're going to take 30 photos. And now you have your photos for the whole month of what you're going to put up. But that for me has been a really big one. I try and batch my photos so that it helps me with content when I need something to post. Same with your quotes. Anytime you come across a quote on Instagram, if you like it, or Pinterest, if you're going to dive into Pinterest, screenshot it and just save it to a folder so that you have them. So when you want to put up a quote, you have like a bunch of things that you can pull from at any given time, and you're not caught in the scroll of searching for something to do that day. So anytime you come across something, just screenshot it. That's what I do. And I leave it in like a bank in my Google Photos. I just have an album that's like screenshots, and I put it in there so I can pull from it at any given time. I probably have like 30 quotes sitting there right now. So if I'm ever stuck, I can pull from that. So I hope that that helps in terms of like, what are you posting? That's always the question I think we get, is like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be posting this week. Post based on what's coming up. Now, this next part is going to help, because when you are posting based on what you have coming up, your invites flow really nicely into that, because the people who are liking and commenting on that post, you're now inviting to the very thing you're talking about. And it makes sense. When you start inviting to a challenge group, but you're not talking about a challenge group, it can feel very disconnected for your followers to be like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. And if you get that as a response, have that be like a bit of a gut check to be like, I'm not talking about it enough. If I'm inviting somebody and they have no idea what I'm talking about, that means I'm not talking about it enough in my posts, in my stories, or doing reels about it. Because if you're doing those things and you invite to it, more times than not, people are going to be like, I've been watching and I'm just not quite ready, or no, thank you. I saw that. Yeah, I saw you posted about that, but I'm just not quite ready yet. And it opens the door for conversation. But if at any point in time, people are like, I have no idea what you're talking about, that's just a really great gut check to be like, I'm not talking about the coach opportunity enough. So schedule that in for your post this week. Okay. So those are kind of like reflection, identifying some gaps, but your invites will flow so nicely if you're talking about the thing that's coming up next week. That's what I have found that I do that I love. Now let's talk about hashtags. I think let's take 3 seconds and not 3 seconds, let's take 3 minutes and write down 5 hashtags and 5 locations. I want you to put this on your business activity tracker for the week. You can put a post-it, but you're going to find right now 5 hashtags and 5 locations. And those are going to be the things that you go into when you have written down in your work that you're going to initiate and add followers. That's where you're going to go to initiate connections and add followers. It's those 5 hashtags and those 5 locations. So it is seamless this week. We're not running through searching different hashtags and locations. You have them done already. So I want you to go to your phone, go into Instagram, and type in a hashtag based off of an interest that you have. Could be country music. It could be nurse life. It could be lawyer. It could be commuting to work. Something that you do or something that you're interested in. Go find 5 hashtags and write them down. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to do that. And by the way, don't go through hashtags that are really fitness related, because for the most part, you're just going to find other people who are already on their fitness journey or who are already trainers. Same with like nutritionists and stuff. Go for, when you're searching through hashtags, you can go for like quick family meals. That's better than like nutritionist. Do you know what I mean? So try and get out of any hashtag where a lot of coaches or trainers would be showing up already. You want to find hashtags where moms or your target market are showing up. Maybe it's newlyweds. Maybe it's moms who are pregnant. Maybe it's people who are planning a wedding, whatever that is for you. Okay, you guys can continue doing that later, but if you have one or two, that's great. It's better than none. Locations for me, I use like where I'm living, the city that I'm living in, and oftentimes I'll use like a popular place in the city where I know people would be. So museums or zoos where people would normally travel or go to, places you've traveled before. Trails, we're really big on like walking trails around here now, so I'm checking a lot of trails and like people who are checking into those trails around us or ones that I've done, because that's instantly a conversation to me to be like, hey, yeah, like we're getting out every single weekend trying to go for a walk. What other trails have you been to? Like we're looking for more in the area. Easy conversation. So think of the things that you're doing, and you can add to your list 5 locations that you can search this week as well when you want to make new connections and add some followers to your Instagram or Facebook page. For me on Facebook, I have a list of 2 mom groups right now, and those 2 mom groups are my focus to make sure that I'm going in at some point this week and just commenting on a bunch of stuff, connecting, adding value into those 2 mom groups. And then I usually will add 10 friends from the people who are a part of that group on Facebook. That's kind of my flow on Facebook. I just make it simple. Okay, now the very last thing that I want to end with today is making a list. So if we aren't tracking our business, we are going to feel disorganized and we are going to feel like we have nobody left to contact. We don't know who to follow up with. It holds us up quite a bit when we don't make a list. Shorty is the queen of making a list and tracking her people. I am not. I aspire to be like Shorty one day. We will all get there. But I'm really finding that for me, making a list ahead of time for the week, it really makes me feel proactive. So when I have 10 minutes to follow up, I know exactly who I'm going to follow up with. When I want to go and invite, I know exactly who I'm going to invite. So I've actually made my list of people that I want to connect with this week. I've just put it on the back of my business activity tracker. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just has to be a place where you can go and you know where these people are. I want you to make a list based off of what you've been doing this week. So for me, I ran a free group. My free group ends today, and I'm going to connect with all the people that were active in my free group. So I'm writing their names down. Anyone who liked or commented on a post or who is brand new into that group, I wrote their names down. Those are the people I'm going to connect with. I'm writing down the names of anyone who liked or commented on my past posts this week. If you had new likes on a reel, write those names down. The Instagram handles, write them down. If you had conversations, it's really great to go just back through your DMs, back through your messenger, and write down the names of people. This is probably going to take you about 20 minutes. So we'll kind of like end this call, but you can end this call with making your list for the week. This is going to help you save so much time this week. So you're not sifting through messages, trying to figure out who you followed up with, who you didn't follow up with. Go through your messages from last week in Instagram and in Facebook, go through the likes and comments, and go through any free group that maybe you had or your Instagram story views. That is a really great place to start. And if that is an overwhelmingly number of people, that's great. Maybe you just want to make a list of 100 people that you're going to talk to this week. But I think what it's going to do is it's going to help you identify who are the people who are consistently showing up to like and comment on your stuff and watch what you're doing. You're going to start to see trends and names that are happening. And this is the insight into your business that gives you keys of like, oh, that's a new name. I didn't see them last week. They're new here. I need to foster that relationship. This person has been around for a year and has not signed up. I need to figure out why. Why are they still watching me and interested in what I'm doing, yet they haven't joined me? And here are the people in the middle that I've kind of been talking to, or maybe I haven't invited them yet. It's an easy way to have that list and then go in and be like, oh my gosh, I haven't even invited that person. And they've liked and commented on 4 of my things this week, and I totally missed them. But without the list, I think that we're just kind of like all over the place and feeling a little bit squirrely with who we're connecting with, who we're inviting, who we're following up with. So that is my thing that I'm going to leave you guys with, is to make your list of people that you're going to connect with this week. Don't have to connect with them today. especially if today is like a day, maybe today's your busy day and this is your work day and you want to like get all the things done, then I encourage you dive into that list and invite and connect with all of them. But if today's your family day and you just want to have this list so that you feel proactive for the week, that's cool too. Take the 20 minutes, make your list, go have your family day. And then this week you feel super confident about what you're doing. Does anybody have questions before we wrap this up? No, we're feeling good. Okay, I want to do more of these. Oh, Katie.
I just have an unrelated question. So I got into the Get Up and Go. I guess the whatever they call it. I can't even remember what I can't
Test
even
group?
spit out the word. But I can. Yeah, the test group. How much of that am I allowed to share?
So they should have given you some guidelines, or they will be giving you guidelines as to what you can and cannot share. For the most part, nothing. It's very top secret. I am going, like, I'll say what I said to Kaylee when she went into the MBF test group, is that this is your time to create curiosity around what you're doing. And this is your time to say, I'm doing a top secret group. I can't even share with you guys what it is. It's a brand new program coming out. I'm like, talk about the fact that you worked really hard in your business and you achieved it. It was a goal and it was something that you've been rewarded with and you're excited about it, but you can't share. Stay tuned. Like, it's coming. As soon as I can share information with you guys, I promise you'll be the first to know. Really create that curiosity around what it is that you're doing. And I think in terms of like showing your videos, because sometimes that was always the concern. I know for a couple other people, they were like, well, how do I show my workouts if I can't physically show anything? Talk about them. Show after you're done working out, you're like a sweaty mess, and talk to the camera about how you feel after your workout. That's a really great one. Or you can show like the warm up or getting ready, like, okay, we're getting ready for this like top secret workout. People are going to be like, oh my gosh, just tell me what it is that you're doing. And they might even be on the brink of like annoyed, but it's important to, one, respect obviously the guidelines and what Beachbody is asking you not to share. But I think it's really fun and it's something new and people are used to seeing you work out all the time, right? And so not being able to show that, I know that it creates kind of this like pivot for you to be like, okay, well, half of my posts are me working out and talking about the workouts and showing the videos. So now what do I do? I think it'll be really good for you just to switch it up. And I know that that might feel a little bit unnerving, or I'm not sure how you feel about it, but I know that for the most part, anytime that I have to switch things up, sometimes I can kind of feel like, well, shoot, now what am I going to do? So let's keep talking about it. And maybe you can just map out a couple of ideas and send them over to me. And I don't mind helping you kind of navigate through, yeah, these are really great ones. Maybe you can add in X, Y, and Z. But you kind of start there and then I'll help you work through that. And even as you go, like if there's like a week where you're just feeling like really stuck or you're like, help me, I have no ideas. I can help you with that too. We'll just kind of bounce it off as you go through it week by week.
Perfect.
But that's exciting.
I'm really excited for it. I got the email yesterday or Friday, basically saying like I'm in the test group and I have to fill out a whole bunch of forms, I guess, which I'm assuming is what those guidelines are.
Probably.
I wonder if I could show like, because I know Liz showed like her like getting into the test group. So I wasn't sure if I'm even allowed to show that, like the whole get up and go, whatever.
Yeah.
So
I
assume
I think for the most part, they just don't want you sharing the actual workout moves or like the nutrition plan specifically.
Okay.
If you're following Ultimate Portion Fix, that's already out, so you can share that. It would only be if there's anything brand new. They really like to keep it like on lockdown and top secret because they will make adjustments to the program. If there's something that they see from the test group that's like not working, they'll make some tweaks and adjustments. So they really don't want information going out until the program's like final, and you have your final package. But yeah, I think you could probably share some of that stuff. I would really lean into the fact like, and you could do posts about it, or stories about how like you never even knew this was a thing. Like you didn't even know that this was possible before you were coaching. Lean into the fact that it's like, it's kind of cool to be a part of something that's like ground up you're testing it, you're piloting it, that you get to work alongside other coaches that you've never got to work with before. Being a part of a test group, what does that mean for you? And how serious are you going to take this? Because you're giving feedback like directly to the trainer. Like, how cool does that feel? So I think there's just other things that you can try and think outside of the box instead of what the program is. How is it making you feel? And what are some new experiences that you've gotten from this? And I think it's really cool to tie in the coaching opportunity to a lot of it.
For sure. Perfect.
Yeah. That help?
Yes, totally.
Okay, good. Well, thanks for jumping on, you guys. I would love to do more of these and help people just feel like that organizational aspect. I think we do a really good job of the mindset piece and the connecting piece, but sometimes that organizational piece is one that can be ever evolving based on your business and how you're growing your business. So I hope to bring more of these at least once a month anyways, to be able to bring these in and we can map out our weeks. So I'll share the recording so you can share it with your teams. And if you guys have questions on this afterwards, as you continue to map all the things out, you can always comment on the video or shoot us a message in team chat. Thanks for showing up. Thanks, Shannon. I'm glad it was helpful. Okay, bye guys. Have a good day.